Marc Márquez, somebody will beat me with the same bike. The world doesn't realize yet how absurd this is. Marc Márquez has been in MotoGP since 2013, and in 12 seasons, no teammate, no matter the pedigree, no matter the history, has ever beaten him across a full, clean campaign. Dani Pedrosa, Jorge Lorenzo, Pol Espargaro, Joan Mir, all fell in line. Even his own brother Alex. And now the man Ducati painted as their golden boy, Francesco Bagnaia, the two-time defending champion, is drowning in the same box while Marquez turns the factory red into his personal blood-stained empire. Here's the thing. Pecco Bagnaia was supposed to be safe. He was supposed to be Ducati's insurance policy. The guy who would carry their torch in the post-Dovi era, the guy who could finally break the curse of Bologna's wasted talent. He won 2 titles. He was marketed as the professor, the calm assassin, the anti-Marquez. The one who beat Fabio Quartararo head-to-head in 2022. The one who shut down Jorge Martin's revolution in 2023. The one who was meant to carry Ducati into their era of dominance. And yet, in 2025, Marc Márquez walks into his house, sits at his table, eats his food, and tells him straight to his face, "This is mine now." The execution of Pecco Bagnaia. The numbers tell you part of it, but the humiliation is deeper than spreadsheets. Marquez has won the last 14 races. 14. That's not a championship. It's a public execution carried out across continents. Pecco's only victory came because Marc crashed at Coda. Not because Bagnaia beat him fair and square, not because he found something Marquez didn't. He inherited it. The only other time Pecco's been in front with both crossing the line was Jerez, where Marc fell, got back up, and still nearly made him sweat. This isn't rivalry. Rivalry requires balance. This is suffocation. This is the kind of dominance that doesn't just beat you on the stopwatch, it breaks you mentally. Bagnaia has gone from Ducati's poster boy to Ducati's ghost. He hasn't even been on the podium for 3 rounds. He's been so far behind that Alex Marquez, his teammate's younger brother, has leapfrogged him in the standings. Pecco's problem isn't just the GP25. Sure, the bike changed, different braking, different entry feel, less compliant than the GP24. He complains about it, talks about not being able to step back, but Marquez is riding the same beast and making it dance. This isn't about machinery, it's about nerve. It's about psychological gravity. Bagnaia knows he's sharing the garage with a man who has made a career of eating his teammates alive. The gap is cruel. Marquez is 227 points clear. Bagnaia is 52 points behind Alex. Think about that. The guy who was untouchable 2 years ago, the double champion who was Ducati's emperor, is now 3rd in his own factory's pecking order. This isn't a fall, it's a burial. The prophecy. And yet, here's the twist. Marquez, sitting on his throne, dominating like a medieval warlord, looks ahead and says, "Somebody will beat me with the same bike." That line is terrifying. Because it's not insecurity, it's inevitability. Marquez knows cycles. He's seen legends fall. Valentino Rossi destroyed everyone from 2000 to 2010, never lost to a teammate at full strength. Then Jorge Lorenzo arrived and cracked the myth. Marquez knows it will happen to him too. The difference? He's saying it while he's still killing everyone in sight. He's predicting his own downfall from the top of the mountain. This isn't humility. It's psychological warfare. By admitting it, he disarms everyone. Bagnaia can't weaponize it. Martin can't either. Marquez is already beyond the ego stage. He's telling the world, "I've beaten every man in my box since 2013. It hasn't happened yet. It won't happen this year. But someday, some savage will arrive, and I'll taste it. Until then, bend the knee." That's the OG mentality. He knows time is undefeated, but he's going to squeeze every ounce of fear from his rivals until it comes. Bagnaia's collapse. Let's break down Pecco's spiral. He's not just losing races, he's losing identity. Riders aren't scared of him anymore. In 2022 and 2023, Bagnaia had aura. If you lined up with him, you knew he had control, precision, and factory might. But this year, he's just another Ducati rider struggling to find pace while Marc turns the same machine into a scythe. His interviews say it all. He blames the GP25, talks about corner entry, confidence, handling. Those aren't lies, but they're camouflage. The truth is that he's rattled. Marquez has taken his throne in less than one season. Imagine the sting. Bagnaia defended against Quartararo, against Martin, against Bastianini. He thought he'd arrived. Then comes Marc, limping out of Honda's ruins, climbing onto Ducati like it was born for him, and blowing him into irrelevance. The Balaton Park weekend summed it up. Marc admitted he's never been beaten by a teammate. Not once. Bagnaia had to sit there, knowing he was supposed to be the guy. He was Ducati's anchor, their safe bet, their franchise. Now he looks like a placeholder in Marc's dynasty. And here's the brutal truth. Bagnaia's 2 titles will always carry an asterisk now. Fair or not, history will read them as the years before the storm. The transitional era. The seasons where Ducati finally won, but only because the king wasn't on their bike yet. The minute Marquez showed up, he wiped those 2 crowns off Pecco's head and replaced them with scars. The Marquez standard. Why is it so vicious? Because Marquez doesn't just win. He changes the standard of what winning looks like. He doesn't grind out points. He doesn't wait for mistakes. He hunts. 14 wins on the bounce across sprints and main races isn't statistics. It's psychological warfare. Think about the garage dynamic. Every session, Pecco sees Marc's data, same bike, same tools, and yet lap after lap, Marc brakes later, carries more corner speed, trusts the front harder, accelerates earlier. Pecco knows it. He sees it in black and white, and there's nothing he can do. That's not just defeat, that's humiliation. Marquez even explained it perfectly. In MotoGP, when you're missing confidence, you lose 0.3 or 0.04 at every break point. Add it up, and suddenly you're 0.2 a lap down. Over 25 laps, that's 5 seconds. Over a season, that's your career. Bagnaia is bleeding out in increments, death by decimals. And Marquez, he's feeding on it. He's been through worse, career-threatening injuries, Honda's wilderness years, the wreckage of 2020. He clawed his way back, rebuilt his body, reinvented his riding. Now that he's on Ducati, every lap looks like revenge on everyone who thought he was finished. Bagnaia just happens to be the man chained beside him. Rossi's shadow, Lorenzo's lesson. There's a deeper layer. Marquez compares his career arc to Rossi's. Valle never lost to a teammate in his prime, but when Lorenzo came back in 2008-2010, he cracked Rossi open. That's what Marquez sees on his horizon. A future Acosta, a future Martin, maybe even Alex on the same spec, who'll finally be the one. But here's the twist. Marquez isn't fighting it. Rossi hated it. Rossi tried to keep Lorenzo boxed in, to manipulate Yamaha politics. Marquez, he welcomes it. He says it out loud. That's gangster. That's what makes it different. He's not afraid of being beaten one day. He's afraid of not fighting until then. So what does that mean for Bagnaia? It means he's not the guy. If Pecco were that man, Marc would already be sweating. But Marc's telling the truth. It won't happen in 2025. Bagnaia's not that storm. He's just another teammate added to the list. The lost champion. Bagnaia now carries a burden no one envies. He's the 2-time champion who couldn't hold his throne. In the history books, he'll be remembered for delivering Ducati's first consecutive crown since Stoner, but also as the man dethroned by Marquez's arrival. Like Eddie Lawson at Cagiva, like Jorge Duhamel in AMA, like every fighter who thought they were king until a real one walked in. This is worse than losing a title. Titles come and go. What Pecco has lost is fear. No one is scared of him anymore. Quartararo once looked at him with caution. Martin once shadowed him with respect. Now they see a rider broken by the presence of Marc Márquez in the same colors. Ducati has a problem too. They built everything around Pecco, the Italian hero, the face of the brand. And now the Spaniard, who was once their biggest enemy, has walked into their headquarters and stolen their spotlight. Ducati wanted a dynasty under Bagnaia. What they have instead is the Marquez Empire, the inevitable future. So let's circle back to the prophecy. Somebody will beat me with the same bike. That's not 2025. That's not Pecco. That's not anyone right now. But someday, Maybe a Costa on a red rocket, maybe Martin in factory trim, maybe even a future kid not yet in MotoGP. Someone will arrive who can do to Marquez what Lorenzo did to Rossi. Until then, this is tyranny. Marquez has rewritten the rules. He's not just Ducati's ace, he's MotoGP's gravitational pull. Every rider measures themselves against him, and right now, every rider is being measured and found wanting. Final cut. Here's the brutality. Marc Márquez didn't just join Ducati. He didn't just win races. He stole an empire from Pecco Bagnaia and reminded the sport what a real king looks like. He's predicting his own death while still killing the field. And Bagnaia? The man with 2 titles? The man who was supposed to be untouchable? He's already finished. The runaway champion has spoken. The lost champion has been erased. And until that prophecy comes true, until somebody actually beats him with the same machine, MotoGP has only one truth. Marc Márquez doesn't share thrones. He builds them, burns them, and buries whoever sits beside him.